Good morning, everyone. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, honored guests. Before we get into our council meeting this morning, we'd like to take a moment to remember and reflect on the 18th anniversary of September 11th, the tragedy that took the lives of so many people in our country. On this day, 18 years ago, thousands of people went to work as they would on any other day, not knowing the horrific tragedy that faced them. The attacks on 9/11 were horrific, but they didn't break the American spirit. In fact, it unified us. We witnessed this in heroic efforts of the men and women in uniform, our first responders, who fearlessly went towards the devastation, some of them sacrificing their lives in the process. We've invited representatives from both the firefighters, the union, and the police union to share remarks and lead us in a moment of silence as we reflect on the great heroism and the spirit of our first responders and honor all of the lives which were lost. I'd like to, before I turn this over to Alan Ferschweiler from the Portland Firefighters Association, I'd like to recognize that we have Fire Chief Sarah Boone here today. We have leadership from the Portland Police Bureau. I believe A.C. Davis is here and A.C. Lee are here and others. Portland Police Association, I believe Daryl Turner is planning to be here. We have a number of PPB lieutenants, many other firefighters and uniformed personnel, and we thank you for being here to share this moment with us. And with that, I'll turn it over to Alan Ferschweiler. Thank you for being here, Alan. And Chief Boone, A.C. Lee, and a cast of many other leaders. Thank you.
Good morning. Commissioner Fritz, Commissioner Fish, Mayor Wheeler, thank you for having us here today. I'm Alan Ferschweiler. I'm president of the Firefighters Association. I'm here with our fire chief, Chief Boone, and her administrative staff, which you've seen behind me, acting there, Chief Lee on my left, and representing us together, and I'll be making the remarks today. 18 years ago, we had a horrific situation in this country. Over 3,000, right around 3,000 people lost their lives, including 343 firefighters and 20 police officers that day. Since that time, and even since last 9/11 memorial, we've lost 200 police officers to their 9/11 illnesses that they had. Recently, Congress finally authorized the Victim Compensation Fund, which will take care of the injuries for those that have succumbed to some of the illnesses. Unfortunately, since 9/11 has happened, we've had 500 total firefighters and police officers that have died from their illnesses. And today, we wonder why we say we never forget. It's because every day we have a memory of somebody else that's a victim of it. And so today, I want to thank you for having us here. We're going to do a moment of silence, and in reflecting on the number of how we do the moment of silence, we're going to do 35 seconds. And that reflection is for the 3,000 people that lost their lives and the 500 that have lost their lives since then. A total of 3,500 people that have been affected, and we'll do a second for every 100 that's been affected. So Mayor, if you wouldn't mind leading us during that moment.
Very, very good. Please join me in recognizing a moment of silence for 35 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And for all those that are available, I know 9/11 is on Wednesday and you have council agenda. We are having a public ceremony at 11 a.m. as well over at Station 22 or 21 at 5 Southeast Ash at 11 a.m. for anybody that's available to come and for the public as well.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you. Thanks, gentlemen. Appreciate it. All right, good morning, everyone. This is the morning session of the Portland City Council on September 11th, 2019. Good morning, Carla. Please call the roll.
Good morning. Hardesty, Udaley, Fritz,
Here.
Fish,
Here?
Wheeler.
Here. Now we'll hear from legal counsel on the rules of order and decorum. Morning.
Welcome to the Portland City Council. The City Council represents all Portlanders and meets to do the city's business. The presiding officer preserves order and decorum during the City Council meetings so everyone can feel welcome, comfortable, respected, and safe. To participate in council meetings, you may sign up in advance with the City Council Clerk's Office for communications to briefly speak about any subject. You may also sign up for public testimony on resolutions or the first readings of ordinances. Your testimony should address the matter being considered at the time. If it does not, you may be ruled out of order. When testifying, please state your name for the record. Your address is not necessary. Please disclose if you are a lobbyist. If you are representing an organization, please identify it. The presiding officer determines the length of testimony. Individuals generally have 3 minutes to testify unless otherwise stated. When you have 30 seconds left, a yellow light goes on. When your time is done, a red light goes on. If you are in the audience and would like to show your support for something that is said, please feel free to do a thumbs up. If you want to express that you do not support something, please feel free to do a thumbs down. Please remain seated in council chambers unless entering or exiting. If you are filming the proceedings, please do not use bright lights or disrupt the meeting. Disruptive conduct such as shouting or interrupting testimony or council deliberations will not be allowed. If there are disruptions, a warning will be given that further disruption may result in the person being ejected for the remainder of the meeting. After being ejected, a person who fails to leave the meeting is subject to arrest for trespass. Thank you for helping fellow Portlanders feel welcome, comfortable, respected, and safe.
Very good, thank you. And Carla, I understand the first 3 individuals would like to come up together. Is that correct? No. No?
No, I don't have that.
No, very good. All right, 851, please.
Request of Cheryl Graves to address council regarding homeless children, kids living on the street, and at-risk and unsupervised foster children.
Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Good morning.
Appreciate it.
I'm Cheryl Graves. I'm a resident and book author. So today I'm here to talk about homeless youth, kids living on the streets, and foster kids that are left unsupervised. They all share like experiences, inadequate supervision, high-risk living conditions, no positive role models, and there is no one protecting or teaching them healthy living practices. We have foster and homeless children scattered in 8,000 different places. Although the plan sounded good at first, to place kids in private homes with, quote, normal families, the reality is we as caretakers can't be in 8,000 different places to see to their safety. When we take action against threats to children and build the Yes Village, the children will be together in one place under one roof with caring supervised guardians. This is a plan that can be successfully managed for at least 1/2 of what we pay today. And at the same time, we will be able to successfully help twice as many kids. The Yes Plan, My Life Matters, is a solution, putting an end to kids on the streets, helping them to find safety, available nutrition, creative education, and love. This is not another Band-Aid, but a life-changing solution. The Homeless Cure was created to elevate the homeless and foster care systems, to become the best model in the country, not one of the worst as we are rated today, While waiting for just the right foster parents, these children will be raised in wide open spaces surrounded with farming, orchards, gardening, fishing, real-life ecosystems, sport and fitness parks, and then at the ranch, which includes chickens, pigs, goats, ponies, and horses. Along with safe and caring daycare and revised education, there is safe and appropriate housing, along with on-the-spot medical and dental care, on-the-job training for 16 and over, with programs that are interesting while developing personal life skills. These children will learn more than just growing their own food and building their own bikes, but also about healthy friendships, responsibility, trust, and learn the freedom to laugh. One of the best features of this plan is that families can now stay together. The village is a lifestyle rehabilitation community that serves all ages, individuals, families, and friends who can now grow in a positive environment with specialized mentoring, engaging projects, and when someone needs to be redirected, there is someone there to help. When I battled cancer for 3 years, the only person I could look at was another sufferer. I couldn't even look at other people. I could only look at somebody who was going through the same thing I was going through. Kind of like the people who went through 9/11 and suffered. They look at other people and they just melt that we're in the same situation they were in. What do you think kids feel when they're put into a home with a normal family? They have nothing in common, nothing, aren't you sweet? Nothing in common at all. So what I'm asking is, they need to be around people who know, who get it, who've been there, that they can hug and cry and heal. So I suggest a community for them. Thank you for your help. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Cheryl, and
Thanks
thank you
for the water
for
to
sharing
clean
your
up.
story. We appreciate it.
I'll take the water.
Thank you.
You grab the box back.
Next individual, please, 852. Thank you,
Request
Cheryl.
of Craig Rogers to address council regarding trust and local government. He called and will not be coming.
He will not be here today?
Correct.
Very good. 853, please.
Request of the Portland Youth Climate Council to address council regarding the need to take action on the climate crisis.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here.
My name is Sophie Weir, and I'm here representing the Portland Youth Climate Council. I'm a recent graduate of Cleveland High School. And for the
What high
past,
school?
Cleveland High School.
Cleveland.
And for the past 2 years, our group has been powered by the voices of local youth and sustained by our drive to defend our right to a healthy future. Today, we're here for the second time to address the harmful gaps in the Portland Tree Code. When the city first adopted the code back in 2011, they exempted industrial properties in an effort to meet they exempted industrial properties in an effort to meet a land quota for industrial zoned lands. Those quotas have been met since 2017, yet the code hasn't been updated. What's more, the provision that protects some of Portland's largest trees includes a sunset clause set for December of 2019, which will leave older growth trees unprotected. The Portland Tree Code is failing at its job. Instead of protecting trees, it allows commercial and industrial landowners to destroy precious tree cover, violating our city's pledge to work towards a green future. We call on the city to remove these commercial and industrial exemptions as well as the sunset clause before it's too late. As climate change intensifies, preserving an urban tree canopy will prove invaluable. Not only do trees sequester large amounts of carbon, they also decrease local air temperature and promote healthy air quality. These properties will mitigate the effects of rising global temperatures, increased wildfire frequency and intensity, ozone pollution, and more in the city of Portland. We have spoken with representatives of various city departments regarding this issue, including the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability, Urban Forestry, and Nick Fish's office. None of them were able to take real action. We attended a meeting for the climate emergency resolution and found that the city may consider amendments to the tree code come January. However, consider isn't enough in a time when we need to be protecting trees at absolutely every opportunity we have. As one of my fellow PYCC members said in a speech at the recent Zenith Forum, when you see your house is on fire, you run out, but you do not run away. You call the fire department, and today we're calling on you to help us put this fire out. No one has the power to step up to the plate and make the changes we need to the tree code except you. You have the choice to either protect our communities and our climate when it's needed most, or to exchange people and planet for profit. Which will you choose? We ask you, what will it take for you to take immediate action to remove the commercial and industrial exemptions, as well as the sunset clause from the tree code?
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Ms. Ware, you have a number of people here as well supporting you, and I just want to recognize that. Thank you. Appreciate it. Next individual, please.
Item 854, request of John Hollister to address council regarding the value of corporations, nonprofits, and Portland government working together.
Mr. Hollister, good morning.
Good morning.
John, it's been a while. Welcome back.
It has been a while.
You've been on sabbatical.
It's John Hollister for the record. So I've actually been gone a year. I actually took a new job and I had to move to Michigan for 6 months. And I never realized that the words polar and vortex could be used in the same sentence. It was very, very cold, but I'm back.
Thank you.
And Commissioner Fish, you look great, and you're in my prayers on a daily basis.
Thank you very much.
And Commissioner Fritz, thank you so much for all of your service, and you will be missed.
Not yet, though.
Not yet, but not today.
News of her demise are premature and speculative.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think I know what the problem is. In today's world, there's too much certainty. I'm right, you're wrong. This seems to escalate to anger, rage, hate, then violence. And 18 years ago, today is an extreme example of certainty turning to violence. I had business in New York City that October of 2001, and I saw a community in extreme pain. But I also saw people with strong and different opinions working together, listening and respecting each other. Cab drivers were even nice. If people with strong, different opinions could just sit down, talk, come out of their respective end zones, and be willing to move to the middle of the field, I believe amazing things could happen. So I just kind of had to say that. But now to the topic of my presentations, corporations, government, and nonprofits working together to make our communities better. The Navigation Center doesn't happen without Tim Boyle. The hundreds of new trash cans in downtown and the Pearl District don't happen without the Business Alliance and the Pearl District Neighborhood Association. There are many more examples of public and private sector working together. This work needs to continue and escalate. My company, ClickBid, would like to follow suit and contribute $500,000 of our fundraising software to all nonprofits and schools, large and small, in the Portland area. Equality, I believe every voice needs access to these tools. Just to clarify, we only help nonprofits that need more money. The ones that have all they need, we can't help them. Here is my certainty. Every nonprofit, large and small, will benefit from using a fundraising software platform. Our software can help every nonprofit in the Portland area raise more money. Our software costs anywhere from $800 to $1,500, but we are offering it free to all nonprofits in the Portland area. I am here asking your help to make sure that every nonprofit in the area, large or small, knows about this offer. I'm really not sure what that help looks like, but I'd sure like the opportunity to be able to work with someone in each one of your offices to figure out what that means and help make sure that everyone is aware of this offer. And a little shout out that all of my compatriots in Michigan are watching this right now. So hi, Matt, hi, Tom, and the rest of the gang. And Tom and Matt are my two business partners, and they have agreed to this very generous offer.
Thank
Very
you very
good.
much.
Thank you, John, for bringing this to our attention. We appreciate it. This looks promising.
Yeah.
Welcome back. It's good
Okay,
to see
yeah,
you.
good to be back.
Next individual, please.
Item 855, request of David Potts to address council regarding Oregon Department of Transportation placing boulders where homeless camps are currently residing.
Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Mayor Wheeler, Commissioners. My name is David Potts, and I represent the Lentz Neighborhood Livability Association. I'm here to address Commissioner Joanne Hardesty's outrage over the boulders that ODOT placed in Goose Hollow to protect the neighbors living in that area from aggressive criminal behavior by outside residents living on ODOT property. The neighborhood was victimized by these individuals until the boulders were placed there. Placing boulders is not relocation. If the city and/or county were doing something more effective with the money, they would have built a high-rise by now and housed them. Continually adding to the shelter system that most of the outside people don't wish to go into is not addressing our issues. Give them the option of housing, not temporary solutions. If you're outraged by the boulders, you should be outraged by a shelter system which warehouses people and pushes them out on the street with no place to go. ODOT is not a housing agency. The voters passed the Metro $653 million bond to build affordable housing region-wide. Portland voters passed a $258.4 million housing bond. None of this current affordable housing has helped the service-resistant people off the street. From 2014 to 2017, we have spent $243 million on the homeless issue. This number keeps climbing every year. Why is Commissioner Hardesty not looking to the city she works for and Multnomah County, who have set up agencies to deal with housing? Why are there still people living on our streets? Why did the county purchase a dilapidated building and parking lot downtown for $5.8 million that will take another $16.5 to $21.5 million and years to renovate into usable space? Again, with no money in the budget to run it. Perhaps it is another fundraiser for the poverty industry. Meanwhile, the city is in crisis. It used to be unsafe only after dark. Now it is unsafe all the time. Commissioner Hardesty should be looking at herself, her other council members, and the Multnomah County commissioners to address the issue. So far, they've spent millions on the problem while not addressing the safety of our neighborhoods. In fact, the county has cut money from the budget, closing jail pods, eliminating district attorneys, and the city continues to decrease the number of police officers we have to protect all of us. The outside people have been identified as vulnerable. What about the vulnerability of the inside people? As long as the criminal element remains on the streets, neither the outside people nor the inside people are safe. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your perspective. Welcome. And we will move right, we are not going to do the consent agenda because we don't have enough people, so we'll push that off to the afternoon. We'll do 856, please.
Designate Prosper Portland as the administrator of the Industrial Site Readiness Program on behalf of the city.
Mayor, can I, point of order?
Commissioner Fish.
Because I have to leave and we're going to lose a quorum, just to make it easier for you to manage the agenda, can we just do the second readings in 858, 859 now, so they're off the table? Because everything else has been moved forward.
Yeah, without objection. Let's see, 858, please.
Carla?
858, authorize intergovernmental agreement with Prosper Portland and Metro to provide Prosper Portland funding for the Arlene Snitzer Concert Hall Marquee Improvement Project not to exceed $1.5 million.
Colleagues, we've already had a presentation and taken public testimony on this item. It's a second reading. Any further business? Please call the roll, Carla.
Fritz.
Aye.
Fish.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye. The ordinance is adopted. 859, please, also a second reading.
Authorize an agreement with TriMet for a sublease for the co-location of data radio equipment at Mount Scott in the amount of $55,963.
Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Fritz.
Thanks to Director Mike Sturr, who gave the presentation last week, and to Tom Klutz, who prepared this ordinance. Aye.
Fish.
Aye.
Wheeler.
Aye. The ordinance is adopted.
And Mayor, just so the public knows, items 860 and 861 are to be rescheduled for at the end of the afternoon agenda.
Commissioner Fish, would you like them at the end, or we can put them at the beginning of the afternoon?
Beginning would be great. We'll just deal with them.
Let's
quickly.
assume that, just because we know we have staff teed
Good.
up.
We'll have
and ready to
staff
go.
there, and we'll do them in less than the time that's set aside.
Perfect. So without objection, we're moving 860 and 861 to 2 p.m. this afternoon.
Thank you.
Very good. And we're back to 856. I have some opening remarks. 6 years ago, Business Oregon's Industrial Site Readiness Program was approved by the Oregon State Legislature, which provides reimbursements based on income tax revenues for private-public partnerships to cover the cost of development of industrial sites that would likely not occur without targeted public assistance. With the City Council approval, Prosper Portland can act as the administrator on behalf of the city, similar to the role that the agency plays with the Enterprise Zone program. Approval of designating Prosper Portland as the administrator of the Industrial Site Readiness Program supports the development of industrial redevelopment projects, including applications of business and workforce equity programs, and incentivizes industrial employment growth and helps connect well-paid job opportunities to priority populations. And this morning, we have
staff making a
Lisa
presentation.
Aboif, who I've known for like a decade and see like every other day. I really need more coffee. Good morning, Lisa. I know who you are. Thank you for being here.
Ted, next time that happens, just say it's the chemotherapy.
You know, I just had a
my built-in
birthday.
excuse
I
for
just had a
memory
birthday,
lapses.
and I think it was a breaking point for me. I thank you, Lisa, for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, Mayor and Council members. I am Lisa Aboif, Director of Development and Investment with Prosper Portland, the economic development agency for the City of Portland. And as the Mayor mentioned, the action before you today would designate Prosper Portland to become the City of Portland's administrator for the Industrial Site Readiness Program, which is a statewide economic development program. The state of Oregon supports the Industrial Site Readiness Program, and it was authorized back in 2013 by the state legislature, and it's a program that is managed by the state's economic development agency, Business Oregon. As the mayor mentioned, the program is intended to promote the development of regionally significant industrial sites, which is kind of a term of art that we'll walk through a bit, and to support traded sector economic development. And it's in direct alignment with Prosper Portland's role as the city's economic development agency and would be very complementary to Prosper's other tools and initiatives, ranging from the incentive program of E-Zone all the way through to our initiative around Portland Means Progress to increase diversity within our workforce hiring practices. The program was put in place to help address the shortage of market-ready regional industrial sites, and what you see here on this map are actually Metro's designated significant industrial land sites. So that is how we would follow suit to Business Oregon's requirements as to which sites would be eligible for this incentive tool. And while the Regional Industrial Site Readiness Project does inventory and protect adequate lands, they suggest that land acreage alone is not enough to support the new jobs that we would like to, the new industrial jobs that we would like to see, but that the biggest barrier to a new industrial development in the region is actually making that land ready for development, and that is what this tool is intended to do. This program can then be combined with other efforts and incentives and is intended to help ready the land for improvement, from environmental cleanup all the way to transportation improvements. So key components of the program is a designated site. As I mentioned, it would be in alignment with Metro's designated significant industrial lands. It requires a public sponsor. So a local government is the only entity that can apply if they own the industrial sites and or act as sponsor for a privately owned business or property owner. As sponsor, we would then enter into the tax reimbursement agreement with Business Oregon, and we would be responsible for all the subsequent reporting and monitoring. It also requires an employer, and eligible employers must hire a minimum of 50 employees whose average wages are 150% of the county or state average wages, and that's about $85,000 for Portland. And the program is accepting applications until 2023, and there's an annual budget allocation to this by the state. And eligible costs, as I mentioned, would allow us to recapture some income taxes to cover the costs of land acquisition, planning and engineering, environmental cleanup, transportation improvements, and other infrastructure improvements. And reimbursement is capped at 50% of the total eligible site preparation costs, and our intent is to utilize the program and any funds that are made available through an income tax recapture to further the agency's job creation as well as our social equity objectives in alignment with our strategic plan. In the near term, we're looking at opportunity sites both within the Central East Side as well as Airport Way, which are designated industrial areas and sanctuaries for the city of Portland. And with that, I will take any questions.
Thank you.
Commissioner Fritz?
I have a friendly amendment to add, and that is to add a be it further resolved that this resolution is binding city policy.
Second?
We have a motion on the table. We have a second from Commissioner Fish. Any further discussion? I have one question of staff. Is there any objection from Prosper to the amendment?
No.
Very good. Call the roll on the amendment.
Fritz,
Aye.
Fish.
Aye.
Wheeler.
I appreciate the amendment. I vote aye. The amendment's adopted and on the table. Very good. Is there public testimony on this item, Carla?
Yes, we have 4 people signed up.
All right.
The first 3, please come on up, are Edith Gilles, Jeanne Connett, and I believe it's Cabe Ovas, maybe, sorry.
Who's the next one?
Maggie's also signed up. Was there,
Maggie, why don't you come forward? It looks like you're the only two.
I think Jeanne may have stepped out.
All right.
I am vehemently opposed to this because Prosper Portland does not have the knowledge, the experience, the expertise, the staffing, or the vested interest that we need for the best use of our land for the long-term and intermediate economic development and the well-being of the people of the city of Portland and for the city as an ongoing entity. The reason is because their vested interest, their focus, their bias is in preparing quick, flat land for big boxes, for big corporate industrial development. It does not include any knowledge or expertise in real, true, actual environmental cleanup, in having the wetlands preservation, in having earthquake resilience, in having real equity in taking care of the land. We are going to have raising seawater. We're going to have a lot of changes that affect Portland. So these industrial areas that are waste sinks for pollution are not going to be cleaned up, are not going to be having the natural areas that we need to have, and are not going to be integrated. They're not talking about requiring roofing. They're not having the folks that have even a perspective on the long-term economic or intermediate economic well-being. And they don't even have the framework of the information they're supposed to be looking at. If you make this a binding decision, you cannot necessarily go back and correct it. We're not going to have the city oversight. We're going to be wasting city tax dollars, and we're going to be endangering the lives of our workers and our neighbors.
Thank you. Edith, could you put your name on the record, please?
My name is Edith Gilles.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Good morning.
My name is Maggie, Portland Homeless Town Hall, and I would like to double and triple everything that she just said. And I would like to say that not wanting pollution, not wanting carbon is a great thing. And I've been to these organization meetings where they're going to press legislation to put a tax on carbon. But what you quickly find out about these organizations, and these are my people, I mean, they want, no pollution and no carbon so we can bring down this disaster, that's slow-moving disaster of climate change that is happening all around us, is that they will take that carbon tax and the financial incentive is to just let them keep spewing carbon or pollution so that they can stuff their pockets with money. And what it should be used for is to pollution reduction, carbon reduction, but unfortunately, the corporations, they're fine. They'll pay that tax so they can, put the pollution in the water and put, more carbon in the air. They'll pay that tax if that's what they have to pay, if that's just the price of doing business. And they don't care that it's, gets in the water and it gets in, poor people's, they drink that water, or, the animals. The animals, they die from all of this. They go extinct from all of this. They don't care about global warming. I mean, you can't even say global warming or climate change in Florida. It's illegal for employees to say it. So, I mean, we know where this is going. And Ted, you're a developer. And we need a real Democrat, not someone who just puts on the jacket, and goes out there and says the right words. So.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jeanne Cannett. And I'm going to direct this to Ted because I got told the other day that something wasn't his job. But where do I, Ted, when I first came back to town, I had to go down to the waterfront and I had to sit there for 4 months.
Ma'am, I'm sorry. This is about
It is going to go, it's
an
going to go into
industrial
the
site
pollution
residence
that you guys
program.
are trying to
No,
put in.
this is
It's
about
already
Prosper
more.
Portland being an administrator for an industrial site readiness program. Do you support it or not, and why? That's what the testimony needs to focus on. Otherwise, you're out of order, ma'am. I'm sorry. It's not about Ted. It's about whether Prosper Portland should be the administrator of this program.
And y'all don't already know the answer.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, just sell out Portland all you want to, buddy. It's like.
Who else was there, Carla?
There was a Cole, but I don't think they're here.
Okay. By the way, while we're on the subject, I visited a manufacturing facility yesterday, and I'd like to talk about it because it's one that the city supports. It's one that Prosper Portland's been engaged in. It's the kind of partnership that John Hollister talked about the other day, institutions working with private sector, working with government. And this one was focused on the private sector, and it's called the Pie Shop, which I thought was really interesting. PIE stands for the Portland Incubator Experiment. And this is a partnership between an industrial design firm called Autodesk, which is located in the Central East Side industrial area, the Portland Incubator Experiment, and Uncorked Studios. And the purpose of it is to bring manufacturing to the city that's focused on things like the Internet of Things and connected devices, which are growing market opportunities, not just for Portland, but globally. These are growing market and employment opportunities. They create an opportunity for shared economic prosperity. It has nothing to do with increasing carbon emissions. In fact, the work that they do in this manufacturing facility could help to do just the opposite. And when I think about the industrial opportunities taking place in this community, I think about green energy, I think about green infrastructure, I think about green manufacturing. And so I would encourage people, as you think about what manufacturing is, also think about what the future holds and what the opportunities are. Manufacturing, we all sort of grew up at a time where we think of manufacturing as being smokestacks and a lot of smoke coming out of the smokestack. When I think about manufacturing, I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about how we can move the economy forward while looking at things like the green infrastructure, green energy, green manufacturing, and other forward-thinking things. And in this particular case, we need somebody to administer this program on behalf of the city. I don't think the Housing Bureau is the right bureau. I don't think the Fire Bureau is the right bureau. The police are overextended. I don't think they need to manage this program on behalf of the city of Portland. So it would be my strong preference that we put Prosper Portland, which has already stated its values, showed the kind of results they can get in this forward-thinking, cutting-edge manufacturing, and create a sense of shared economic prosperity so that it's not just the usual suspects achieving financial security, but that we are in fact including people who have historically been underrepresented. And there is no agency in this state that has been more forward-thinking than Prosper Portland, the Inclusive Business Resource Network that works with nonprofits and culturally specific organizations throughout the city to support 1,000 entrepreneurs. The partnership we have around Portland Means Progress, which is focused on equity and inclusion in workforce development. And many other initiatives like Mercatus, a lot of us have gone to the My People's Market, This agency, under the current leadership and the current administration, is forward-thinking, and we are inclusive, and I would encourage people, rather than coming to the microphone and saying things like, Ted, you're a developer, think about what it is that we're actually trying to accomplish in terms of laying a smart economic foundation for all of us in this community while addressing some of the issues like carbon in our economy. So thank you for my little soliloquy, but I just felt like I needed to respond to that. Are there any other questions of staff before we move this to second? I'm sorry, it's a resolution, so is there any further discussion? Very good. Please call the roll.
Fritz.
So this program is about cleaning up brownfields and getting industrial, good manufacturing, well-paying jobs in the Portland area, and I support it. Thank you for your work. Aye.
Fish.
Thank you for pointing that out, Commissioner Fritz. And we actually now have funded a position at Prosper Portland to market all the programs which are designed to create incentives for converting brownfields to productive use. And in fact, our comprehensive plan is predicated on the assumption that over a period of time, we'll convert hundreds and hundreds of acres of brownfields to productive use. I'll also point out that a couple years ago, I did a tour of industrial sites in the city. In this case, they were the various businesses that design high-end bikes, mostly racing bikes, but custom bikes. Turns out Portland, other than a few European cities, is one of the capital cities of bike manufacturing. That is now a new industry. It pays well. We are lucky to be headquarters of some of the best bike manufacturers in the country. They make very high-end bikes for very specific purposes, but that is an example of a diversified economy where we're manufacturing something which we all agree is a public benefit. So with that, I'm pleased to vote aye.
Wheeler.
I vote aye. The resolution is adopted as amended. Next item is, and it looks like it's 10:15 to me, time certain 10:15, number 857, please.
Appoint and reappoint community volunteers to be available to serve on the Police Review Board for a term to expire September 11, 2022.
Very good. This is being brought to us by the auditor. Good morning. If you could introduce yourself for the record, please.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. My name is Ross Caldwell. I'm the new Independent Police Review Director as of about a month ago. And I am here to forward the auditor's recommendation of a panel of community members for the PRB. We've got 2 new members and 2 seeking reappointment. I'm sorry, 10 new members and 2 seeking reappointment. And as you know, this is a advisory body to the police chief and the police commissioner. The group that you see before you, and I know that you have their materials and their bios here, as well as a little bit of a synopsis about the outreach effort that was done. This is a result of a lot of work by Irene Konev, who's our outreach coordinator. I think she's put together a very diverse and impressive group that are willing to put in a lot of time and do a lot of work on something that's very important. And so, unless there are any questions to start with, I guess I would start by reading off their names.
Sure.
Thank you. Huda Al-Hamdani, Isateo Berry, Nathaniel Bamey, Alonzo Chadwick, Maria Garcia, Amanda Greenvoss, Michael Luna, Julie Ramos, Heather Rowlett, and Jim Young. So those are the 10 proposed new members. And then we're also recommending a reappointment for Svetlana Glinka and Joe Pugh, who have served 1 term already. And we had 1 member who had to drop out kind of at the last minute, which is Mr. Vivek Kathari. So he's being taken off the list.
Now, we have all the bios for these candidates, and has the auditor's office received, and we also have testimony from Portland Cop Watch that says they don't have any concerns about the individuals being presented as new members. Have you received any testimony from any other groups stating objections to these appointments?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
And is there anybody here who's being appointed who wants to identify themselves or speak?
Not that I'm aware of. They're all
Would you like to
sitting here
stand
before you. We could have
if
them
you're
stand
able?
up so you can take
We
a look
could
at them.
just stand and recognize and acknowledge you, and thank you for your willingness to serve. We appreciate it. very good. If there's no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Fish, a second from Commissioner Fritz. Please call the roll.
This is a hugely important community appointment. Thank you very much for your willingness to serve. Welcome, Mr. Director. I appreciate you.
Thank you
being
very
here
much.
also. Thank you for taking the time to come here to council in case we had questions. That is above and beyond the call of duty, and I really appreciate it. Aye.
Fish.
This is pure public service, so thank you for agreeing to step up and volunteer your time. According to the testimony that Dan Handelman submitted, or the statement he submitted for the record, now of the pool of candidates, there's a nice mix of women and men. Fewer attorneys this time. As a recovering attorney, I would say that's probably a mixed blessing. And a very interesting and diverse pool in terms of community ties and backgrounds. So I think we are being well served by this group. And again, the city owes you a debt of gratitude for your willingness to serve and for your willingness to re-up. Aye.
Wheeler.
I'll just second that. This is not the easiest volunteer commission to serve on in our city, but it's one of the most important. And I know that each of you takes this very, very seriously. You have to approach this with a sense of conviction and a sense of strong independence. And I just want to tell you how much I appreciate your willingness to serve on this commission. I vote aye. The report is accepted and the appointments are approved. Thank you. And we are adjourned until 2 p.m.